Welcome back. And let's talk about expanded withholding taxes. So, in the previous video, we talked about withholding taxes on compensation. So, these are your withholding taxes paid to your employees and withhold from their salaries. So, now we'll talk about the other types of withholding taxes. Particularly, I'll talk about two very common withholding taxes to very common payees. In this case, you have here professional fees. So if you're paying an independent professional or maybe an actor, an artist, a band, and you use their services, so you have to withhold either 5% or 10%. So you withhold 5% if the gross income of the professional that you hired does not exceed 3 million pesos. Remember, 3 million is our VAT threshold. However, if they're already VAT registered, so you have to withhold 10% from them. Okay, so again, if you're paying for professionals in your business, say you hired a dentist to do some dental work for your employees, then you have to withhold withholding taxes for the dentist's professional fees. So something like that. And another very common expanded withholding tax would be those that are paid to lessors. So these are rental payments to building owners or personal properties even in excess of 10,000, poles, satellites, transmission facilities, and even billboards. So if you're renting any of this one, you have to withhold 5% of your payments to them. So let me illustrate that with another example. You have here IOL Corp that leases an office space from Juan Leasing Incorporated for a monthly rent of 35,000 pesos, and this is net of VAT. How much should the company withhold from Juan Leasing Inc.? So let's look into the computation. Now, you might have noticed that the 35,000 pesos is net of VAT. However, often the lessor will impose on you a VAT. Not just often. They should impose VAT on your basic rental. So in this case, if you see the note below, the amount to be paid to Juan Leasing Inc. monthly is 35,000 plus 4,200 less the withholding tax. So you notice there you have there 35 plus 4,200. So the gross amount that you will pay your lessor would be 39,200. So if the problem stated here that your monthly payment to the company is 39,200, it is presumably inclusive of VAT. Okay? So here, but you notice the statement here is monthly rental of 35,000 pesos. So, and it explicitly stated there that it is net of VAT or exclusive of VAT. So we make use of 35,000 and we simply multiply that amount by 5%, which is the withholding tax rate for rentals, and your withholding tax on rental would be 1,750. An additional note. So in the note below, you have the 35,000 plus 4,200 VAT, and I hope you still remember how to compute for VAT. That's simply 35,000 times 12%. So 35,000 times 12% because the 35,000 is already net of the VAT. Okay, so 35,000 plus 4,200, so total is 39,200, which is inclusive of VAT. You remove the 1,750 withholding tax, or so the amount to be paid to Juan Leasing would be 37,450. So I hope that when you enter into contracts, this should be clear, rental contracts, this item should be clear. Otherwise, you have to compute it on your own. And it should be explicitly stated as much as possible in the contract. Otherwise, in another document that this is how the amount is computed. Just be careful. There are some lease contract that states that the rent is exclusive of VAT. That means that on top of the amount that you'll be paying, you have to pay an additional 12%. And if the contract is silent, then you further withhold a 5% withholding tax. So be very particular about this one before entering into contracts. I think this is one of the most complex computations if you don't know it. But now that you know it, at least you could talk to your lessor and be clear, because the lessor will eventually ask you for Form 2307. So what is Form 2307? This is a summary of the amounts that you withheld from their payments to the BIR. So they will use this form in order to reduce their income tax payable. Okay? So the same is true. If you are a lessor, you have to be clear. You have to request your lessees to give you this Form 2307, because you could use the amounts written there, which they should have paid, which your lessees should have paid to the BIR, to reduce your income tax payments. Okay? I hope that's clear. Again, if you're having difficulties, don't worry. We're planning to have more advanced courses on withholding taxes in the future. But what is important now is that you be clear when entering into contracts with different suppliers with regards to the withholding taxes. All right. So that's the end of this video. I hope to see you in the next one.